Most traders think success is all about strategy, charts, or indicators. But there's one critical secret almost everyone ignores, and it's the reason 90% of traders lose money. Today, we uncover that hidden truth and show you how to protect your capital, grow your profits, and trade like a professional. Most people think success comes from having the perfect method, the right timing, or the ideal setup. They focus on tools, systems, or external conditions, believing that these are the keys to winning. Yet the reality is far simpler and far more overlooked. What truly separates those who succeed from those who struggle is not in the external circumstances, but in the way they handle themselves and how they manage what's at stake. Without control over your mind and careful management of what you risk, even the most promising opportunities can slip away. Many fail not because they lack skill, but because they overlook two critical factors that quietly sabotage progress. Consider a situation where everything seems aligned, the timing looks perfect, and all signs indicate that this is the right move. In that moment, a single lapse in control can undo everything. Fear creeps in, hesitation sets in, and suddenly a rational decision becomes clouded by emotion. On the other side, overconfidence can make someone act recklessly, ignoring limits and boundaries that exist to protect them. Greed pushes the temptation to take more than what is reasonable, while impatience makes it hard to wait for optimal conditions. These internal reactions often have a far bigger impact than any external signal or tool ever could. The environment will always test patience, discipline, and clarity. Those who fail to manage themselves are the ones who repeatedly stumble. No matter how perfect the situation appears on the outside, emotions are subtle, yet they are powerful. Fear causes hesitation, preventing action when it is needed most. It can make someone exit prematurely, missing opportunities that would have yielded results. Greed disguises itself as confidence, urging actions that overextend resources or violate pre-set rules. Overconfidence, built on past wins or a streak of favorable outcomes, can blind a person to real risk. These reactions are natural, but if they are left unchecked, they control behavior rather than guide it. Controlling these responses is not optional, it is the foundation that allows consistent, deliberate action even in high-pressure situations. To gain control over emotions, the first step is awareness. Recognizing what triggers fear, excitement, or impatience allows a person to anticipate and counteract impulsive behavior. Next, establishing a routine can help stabilize the mind. Simple practices such as reflection, meditation, or even a consistent pre-action review provide a mental anchor, preparing the individual for objective decisions. Following a plan is critical. Written guidelines act as a safeguard, preventing emotional impulses from dictating actions, and perhaps most importantly, accepting setbacks as a natural part of the process reduces the emotional burden when things do not go as expected. Mistakes are inevitable, but how they are handled determines long-term outcomes. Those who master their emotions can execute their actions with precision, while those who do not are at the mercy of every fluctuation, every surprise, and every moment of stress. Once emotional control is established, attention must turn to protecting what matters most. Many people focus on opportunity and potential rewards while neglecting the risks involved. This is a critical error. Without careful consideration of potential losses, one misstep can undo months of progress, or worse, lead to total failure. Managing risk effectively is what ensures survival, resilience, and the ability to continue over time. Managing risk begins with establishing limits. Before taking action, decide how much you are willing to lose if the outcome does not go as planned. This amount should be a small fraction of available resources. Setting boundaries prevents emotion-driven decisions from escalating into catastrophic errors. The size of each commitment should align with available capacity and comfort with uncertainty. Overextension can turn a minor setback into a major crisis. Diversifying actions and resources is another safeguard, reducing the impact of any single unfavorable outcome. Common mistakes occur when limits are ignored. Removing safeguards in the hope of a turnaround often leads to unnecessary losses. Overcommitting amplifies the consequences of missteps. Attempting to immediately recover from a setback increases exposure to further mistakes and reinforces a cycle of stress and impulsive decisions. Those who fail to manage risk effectively may not only lose resources, but also lose clarity, confidence, and the ability to continue with a clear head. Even the most accurate assessment or the most promising plan is meaningless if risk is not managed. Protecting what is at stake ensures survival and allows skill to be applied consistently over time. Boundaries and predetermined limits are not arbitrary. They are the framework that allows a person to act decisively without being overwhelmed by fear or greed. By respecting limits and managing risk, opportunities can be pursued deliberately rather than reactively. Emotional control and careful management of what is at stake are deeply interconnected. When fear, greed, or overconfidence are present, they often lead to the violation of boundaries. Conversely, a lack of clear boundaries can amplify emotional reactions, creating a cycle of impulsive actions and compounding losses. Mastery of both elements provides resilience, enabling a person to withstand volatility, pressure, and unexpected developments. Many people make the mistake of thinking that doing more is always better. They believe that constant action is the pathway to success. Yet, in most cases, overextension is the hidden enemy. Rushing, overcommitting, or attempting too many things at once leads not to progress, but to mistakes, frustration, and burnout. Taking action without a clear sense of purpose, without patience, or without consideration of timing often creates more problems than it solves. What seems like effort may actually be wasted energy, and what appears as dedication can become the source of repeated setbacks. The problem with overextending oneself is that it divides attention and dilutes focus. Each action taken without full preparation or consideration carries a higher chance of error. Mistakes compound, and instead of moving forward, a person may find themselves retracing steps, correcting errors, and recovering from avoidable losses. Patience is a skill that is undervalued. Those who can wait for the right conditions and act decisively at the right moment gain a natural advantage over those who act prematurely or impulsively. Another often overlooked aspect is the role of human behavior in outcomes. Success is rarely determined solely by systems or mechanics. Understanding the motivations, tendencies, and reactions of others, or in broader terms, the forces at play in any environment, can prevent unnecessary mistakes. Many failures occur when patterns are ignored or when the tendencies of the larger environment are underestimated. Observing, anticipating, and responding to these patterns allows for more informed decisions and minimizes the risk of being caught off guard. Recognizing these patterns requires detachment and objectivity. Emotional reactions, assumptions, and biases can obscure reality. Those who are able to see the situation clearly without letting impatience or frustration cloud judgment are able to navigate challenges more effectively. They avoid traps that others fall into because they have the discipline to step back, observe, and act only when conditions are favorable. Consistency and planning are key. A clear plan, combined with the ability to execute only when conditions align with that plan, prevents wasted effort. Random or reactionary actions may create a sense of busyness, but they rarely create progress. Understanding timing and context allows someone to optimize actions, conserve energy, and increase the likelihood of success. The principle is simple. It is not how much one does, but how effectively and deliberately one acts that determines long-term outcomes. Awareness of external patterns and forces is not enough without careful analysis of past experiences. Reflection allows a person to identify repeated mistakes and adapt behavior accordingly. Many setbacks could be avoided if lessons were consciously applied. By examining prior actions, evaluating consequences, and adjusting future behavior, one can reduce errors and improve efficiency. Repetition without reflection leads to stagnation. Reflection without application leads to missed opportunities. Both are necessary to develop a sustainable approach to progress. Even when opportunities are apparent, acting without preparation can be costly. Hasty decisions often bypass necessary checks, risk controls, or critical evaluation. Taking a moment to assess the situation, understanding what is truly at stake, and identifying the best approach before acting ensures that each move carries the highest chance of success. Impulsive action may deliver short-term satisfaction, but often creates long-term setbacks that outweigh any temporary gains. Understanding the tendencies of the environment, including human behavior, allows one to anticipate challenges before they arise. Predicting reactions. Understanding common patterns and being aware of potential pitfalls creates a strategic advantage. Those who fail to anticipate the behavior of the environment often find themselves reacting rather than acting, constantly behind the curve. And at risk of avoidable setbacks, maintaining focus and discipline is critical in the face of competing demands. It is easy to become distracted by external noise, trends, or perceived opportunities. Without a clear strategy and patience, one may find themselves constantly shifting attention, overcommitting resources, or pursuing paths that offer little long-term benefit. Those who maintain clarity of purpose, adhere to a plan, and act selectively create momentum, while those who chase every emerging opportunity often find themselves exhausted, frustrated, and behind. In addition to patience and observation, the ability to learn from patterns, both personal and external, is vital. Mistakes should be treated as lessons, not failures. Every error carries information about what does not work, what conditions are unfavorable, or what behaviors to avoid. By systematically extracting these lessons and adjusting behavior accordingly, one builds a framework for informed action. Those who ignore these lessons repeat mistakes, compounding inefficiency and setbacks. Timing and execution are inseparable. Acting too early can waste resources, acting too late can miss opportunities entirely. Those who understand the importance of timing recognize that every action carries an optimal window, and that acting outside this window diminishes effectiveness. The ability to wait, prepare, and then execute decisively creates an edge that is difficult to overcome. It is not the quantity of actions, but the precision of execution that drives lasting results. Furthermore, understanding the limitations of oneself and the situation is essential. Overestimating capacity, underestimating complexity, or assuming conditions are simpler than they are leads to unnecessary setbacks. By realistically assessing capabilities and context, one can allocate resources wisely, manage expectations, and act with confidence. Those who act without this understanding frequently overcommit, make errors, and face consequences that could have been avoided. Many people underestimate the power of having a structured approach and learning from past experiences. They assume that knowledge alone is enough or that natural talent will carry them forward. Yet success is rarely accidental. It is built on a foundation of preparation, discipline, and the ability to extract lessons from every outcome. Acting without a framework and ignoring the insights hidden in past mistakes leads to repeated setbacks, wasted effort, and missed opportunities. The key difference between those who progress steadily and those who stagnate is their approach to planning and reflection. A structured approach begins with a clear understanding of what needs to be done and the establishment of a roadmap for execution. Random actions and spontaneous decisions may seem productive, but without alignment to an overarching plan, they often lead to wasted energy and inconsistency. Preparation ensures that each action taken is deliberate, purposeful, and designed to produce measurable results. By setting a framework for decisions, one reduces the influence of emotion and increases the ability to act rationally, even under pressure. When actions are guided by structure, it becomes possible to prioritize effectively. Without a system, attention is scattered, focus is diluted, and critical opportunities are often missed. A structured approach allows for clarity, ensuring that resources are directed toward initiatives that matter most. This prioritization increases efficiency and reduces unnecessary strain, creating conditions for consistent progress. Those who lack structure often find themselves chasing distractions, reacting to every new development, and failing to achieve meaningful results despite significant effort. Preparation also encompasses setting clear boundaries and expectations. Defining limits on what is acceptable, establishing checkpoints, and anticipating potential obstacles create a safety net that reduces risk. This framework not only guides decisions but also provides a reference point for evaluating outcomes. By having clear guidelines, one can act decisively while maintaining flexibility, balancing discipline with adaptability. While preparation and structure are critical, reflection and learning from past outcomes are equally important. Mistakes and failures are often treated as setbacks or reasons for discouragement, rather than opportunities to extract insights. Yet every outcome, whether favorable or unfavorable, contains valuable information. Those who take the time to analyze their actions, identify patterns, and apply lessons consistently improve over time. Failure without reflection guarantees repetition, whereas reflection without application wastes insight. The combination of thoughtful analysis and purposeful adjustment leads to sustainable improvement. Learning from experience requires honesty and objectivity. It is easy to rationalize mistakes or assign blame externally, but true growth comes from acknowledging where things went wrong, understanding why, and identifying what could be done differently in the future. This process builds resilience, sharpens judgment, and develops a refined sense of timing and decision-making. The ability to see mistakes as information rather than personal failure transforms setbacks into stepping stones for progress. Another aspect often overlooked is the cumulative power of small adjustments. Each lesson applied may seem minor in isolation, but over time, these incremental improvements compound into significant advancement. Consistent reflection, analysis, and adjustment create a feedback loop that refines decision-making, increases precision, and enhances overall effectiveness. Those who ignore this process remain stuck in patterns of repeated error, unable to leverage the lessons that could propel them forward. Attention to detail during reflection is crucial. It is not enough to simply note that a mistake occurred. Understanding the cause, the sequence of events, and the emotional and cognitive factors involved is what creates meaningful insight. This analysis must include both successes and failures. Wins reveal what is working and why, providing a blueprint to replicate favorable outcomes. Losses reveal gaps, weaknesses, and risks that need to be addressed. By systematically dissecting outcomes, one develops an internal map for continuous improvement. Even small errors, if unexamined, can accumulate into significant obstacles. Repeating the same misjudgments diminishes confidence, reduces efficiency, and can undermine long-term goals. Conversely, learning from experience cultivates adaptability and foresight. It allows a person to anticipate challenges, adjust plans proactively, and respond effectively when unexpected situations arise. This proactive approach minimizes wasted effort and maximizes opportunities for success. While analysis is critical, the insights gained must translate into action. Reflection alone does not create improvement. Applying lessons, adjusting strategies, and refining methods are essential. Those who fail to implement insights gleaned from past experiences are doomed to repeat patterns that hinder progress. Action without reflection is blind. Reflection without action is passive. The combination creates an iterative cycle of improvement that compounds over time. Discipline and consistency are reinforced through this cycle. Following a structured plan ensures deliberate action, while reflection ensures that mistakes are not repeated and successes are leveraged. Over time, this approach builds reliability, sharpens judgment, and strengthens decision-making under pressure. Individuals who adopt this methodology consistently outperform those who rely solely on instinct, luck, or raw effort. It is also important to recognize the role of timing in applying lessons and adjustments. Acting too early, too late, or without adequate understanding can nullify the benefits of reflection. Patience and discernment allow for the optimal application of insights. By waiting for the appropriate moment and executing with intention, one maximizes the effectiveness of each adjustment. This careful balance between reflection, planning, and execution ensures that each action contributes meaningfully to long-term progress. Another advantage of this approach is the development of a proactive mindset. Instead of reacting to circumstances or external pressures, a person learns to anticipate challenges, recognize patterns, and implement preventive measures. This forward-looking perspective reduces risk, increases control over outcomes, and enhances the ability to navigate complex or unpredictable environments. The combination of preparation, reflection, and proactive action creates a self-reinforcing system for consistent advancement. Maintaining focus on both structure and reflection also cultivates resilience. Challenges, setbacks, and failures are inevitable, but those who approach them methodically are less likely to be derailed. They have the tools to analyze, adjust, and move forward effectively, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth. Resilience becomes a natural byproduct of a disciplined, reflective, and proactive approach. Ultimately, the difference between progress and stagnation lies not in talent or raw effort, but in the ability to combine structured planning with continuous learning. Preparation ensures that actions are deliberate, resourceful, and aligned with long-term objectives. Reflection ensures that past experiences, both positive and negative, inform future decisions. Action ensures that insights translate into tangible improvements. When these elements work together, results compound, consistency improves, and success becomes sustainable rather than fleeting. This approach also encourages mindfulness and awareness. By carefully analyzing outcomes and understanding both the internal and external factors influencing them, a person develops a heightened sense of perception and judgment. They become better at distinguishing signal from noise, evaluating opportunities, and making decisions that align with their goals. Awareness enhances both efficiency and effectiveness, reducing wasted effort and increasing the likelihood of favorable outcomes. Applying this methodology consistently creates a system where each action is purposeful, every lesson is captured, and progress becomes predictable rather than random. Success emerges as a result of deliberate choices, informed adjustments, and disciplined execution. Those who fail to embrace structure and reflection, by contrast, often drift aimlessly, repeating mistakes, reacting impulsively, and struggling to maintain consistent progress despite significant effort. Over time, the benefits of this approach compound. Small improvements, applied consistently, lead to exponential growth in skill, judgment, and results. The individual develops a refined understanding of cause and effect, the ability to anticipate challenges, and the confidence to act decisively. This is the advantage that separates those who make steady, lasting progress from those who remain caught in cycles of frustration and inconsistency. Even when someone has clarity, patience, and disciplined action, there is another layer that is often overlooked, yet it can make the difference between lasting success and repeated setbacks. One of the most critical aspects is understanding the impact of overcommitting or misjudging the scale of an endeavor. Many people fail not because they lack knowledge or strategy, but because they do not respect the proportionality of what they take on. Attempting to handle more than is manageable or taking on positions that are too large relative to resources creates unnecessary pressure, magnifies mistakes, and increases stress. Overextension amplifies risk, turning what could have been manageable setbacks into catastrophic losses. Proper allocation of effort and resources is essential. It is not enough to identify opportunities or make decisions. Each action must be scaled appropriately. Overestimating capacity, underestimating volatility, or failing to account for variability in circumstances leads to a constant state of reactive stress. When the stakes are too high relative to what one can realistically manage, emotions become more volatile, judgment is impaired, and mistakes multiply. By sizing actions appropriately, setbacks remain contained, decisions remain rational, and resources are preserved for continued progress. This is closely linked to the importance of preparation. Taking on large commitments without thorough analysis or understanding of the environment multiplies risk. Conversely, well-measured actions based on clear evaluation reduce unnecessary exposure. Preparing in advance, understanding the variables, and then acting with proportionate commitment allows for the highest chance of success while maintaining stability. Those who ignore this principle often confuse courage with recklessness, thinking bold action requires maximal exposure, when in reality, sustainability comes from prudence and careful scaling. Another overlooked factor is the tendency to rely solely on external tools, formulas, or methods. While systems and methods provide structure, they cannot compensate for lack of internal discipline and awareness. Tools are only as effective as the person using them. Without the right mindset, discipline, patience, and clarity, even the best methods fail to produce consistent results. Many people chase tools and formulas, believing that the right setup alone will guarantee outcomes. Yet, without aligning behavior, mindset, and execution with principles of proportion, timing, and risk awareness, these tools are often wasted. The real advantage lies in integrating internal awareness with external methods. Using tools and techniques effectively requires a mindset grounded in discipline, patience, and adaptability. A person who understands themselves, their triggers, their tendencies, and their limitations can apply methods consistently, evaluate results accurately, and adjust when necessary. Conversely, someone who relies only on external techniques without self-awareness often becomes reactive, inconsistent, and vulnerable to setbacks. The mindset is the lens through which all external tools and methods must be applied. Without it, even precise formulas fail. Building this mindset begins with self-reflection and honesty. A clear assessment of strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies is essential. Knowing where judgment may falter under pressure, which patterns tend to trigger impulsive action, and how stress affects decisions allows for the design of systems and routines that protect against these weaknesses. By consciously addressing these internal dynamics, one creates a foundation for effective action, ensuring that methods are applied with discipline and intention rather than emotion. Consistent execution is reinforced through structure. Developing routines, checklists, or personal standards ensures that each action is deliberate. Habits of discipline and preparation reduce the chance that stress or pressure leads to impulsive decisions. Those who neglect structure are left reacting in real time, often making errors that could have been prevented with a pre-established framework. In essence, discipline is amplified by routines and reinforced through repetition. Monitoring outcomes is another crucial component. Regular evaluation of actions, methods, and results allows for refinement and adjustment. Reflection transforms experience into knowledge. Mistakes are not just setbacks, they become data points that guide improved decision-making. Observing patterns, recognizing repeated errors, and understanding the conditions under which success occurs allows for continuous improvement. Those who fail to monitor outcomes often repeat mistakes, fail to capitalize on favorable conditions, and remain at the mercy of chance rather than deliberate action. It is also essential to maintain balance between confidence and humility. Overconfidence can lead to excessive risk-taking, while a lack of confidence can result in hesitation and missed opportunities. The most effective approach lies in combining realistic self-assessment with disciplined action. Recognizing limits, respecting boundaries, and staying grounded in reality prevents mistakes caused by emotional distortion or misjudgment of circumstances. This balance allows for decisive action while maintaining control over risk exposure. Furthermore, cultivating patience and long-term perspective enhances the effectiveness of decisions. Immediate results are not always indicative of success, and setbacks are not always indicative of failure. Maintaining a steady approach, acting when conditions are optimal, and allowing time for strategies and decisions to unfold creates a compounding advantage. Those who act impulsively for immediate gratification often sacrifice long-term stability and growth. Success is rarely linear, it is cumulative, built through repeated, disciplined action and careful observation over time.